Retro.
Are you an aspiring Jedi, or do you dabble with the dark side of the Force?
Regardless of whether you fancy yourself a defender of the light or an aspiring Sith Lord, you're going to need a lightsaber.
Podcast Stardust is pleased to partner with Saber Masters, the creators of high-quality, durable, and affordable lightsabers.
Saber Masters is preparing to launch the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0, and right now you can get 2 for the price of 1.
So, check out the link in our show notes and go get your Ultimate Lightsabers from Saber Masters.
And don't forget to use our referral code Stardust to save $10 at checkout.
And each purchase using our referral code helps support Podcast Stardust.
This is John Jackson Miller, author of Star Wars Kenobi, Star Wars A New Dawn, Star Wars Lost Tribe of the Sith, Star Wars Knight Errant, and the upcoming Star Wars The Living Force. And you're listening to Podcast Stardust with Dennis and Jay. May the Force be with you.
Welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And it's a time for our weekly look at Star Wars news. But before we dive into that, Jay, you want to remind everybody where we can be found around the internet?
Of course, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Podcast Stardust.
All right. The dish is aligned. The signal's boosted to maximum output. The shield is down, and we're now broadcasting to the galaxy. So no movie news, no Disney Plus news, nothing in books and comics. It's a very condensed version of the news this week. Up first, though, we do have a long-awaited announcement for the release date for Star Wars Hunters. And honestly, Jay, it had been so long since we'd had any real news about this game. I'd kind of forgotten about it and just kind of assumed that it wasn't ever going to come out on this one. Do you remember this? Did you remember this before we had the trailer?
Oh yeah. It was like the whack-a-mole of Star Wars video games, basically, because it would appear and then it would disappear, and then it would appear, and we're gonna get this, and then it would disappear. So it was really awesome to get this trailer, though.
Right. I mean, so just a little bit of backstory of what you're talking about. It's been in like beta testing or some sort of release in smaller markets overseas. So not outside the United States or Europe, as far as I know. And they've been play testing it, and they had tie-in material that came out for this game early last year.
Mm-hmm.
There was that like Star Wars Hunters, like I'm not exactly sure who posted, but I think there was some sort of a tie-in, like middle grade book or young adult book. I think it was middle grade that came out. And so they didn't hit their anticipated release it wasn't even close. So I'm not sure what the issue was for that. Now, this game is coming out on Android, iOS, and the Nintendo Switch. So you're not getting it for PlayStation 5 or whatever the current Xbox console is. And okay. And it's now arriving on June 4th. So it went from being like nowhere on the radar to coming out real soon, which was kind of a surprise as well. And you can pre-register for it now. I don't know what pre-registration gets you. Maybe the ability to get into it faster. I don't know if that's necessary, but there you go. But then we got this cinematic trailer, which features 2 commentators, a Dowitton named Baz Vega and a droid named LX1. And then we get taken to the arena where we see the 2 different teams of fighters fighting it out until one wins by apparently capturing the flag of the other team. What stood out to you there about that trailer?
Well, the first thing was the like L3 type droid that was the Jedi.
Yeah.
And I was like, since when have droids become Jedi? But in a free play game like this, that's kind of fun. And then the droideka, and there was what was piloting it? Oh my gosh. An Ugnaught. Yes, thank you. Because I was like, that's kind of interesting. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek almost approach, I think, to
Mhm.
your typical Star Wars video game, but I think that's the point, is that it's just supposed to be off the wall and whimsical, and that you can kind of, choose your fighter, kind of thing, and create your own, and Sunday, Sunday, Sunday kind of, feel to it. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to create, and it's something that, you don't wanna take too seriously, but you could have a heck of a lot of fun with.
Yeah, you know what the name of that droid Jedi is?
No.
J3DI.
That is so clever. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, so it's a player versus player team game, 4 on 4, from what I can understand. There's some interviews that are currently on StarWars.com about it. And it looks fun in the sense that I think the environment and the idea behind it is fun, but I'm not sure that I'm really interested in the player versus player aspect of all of this. And I'm assuming there's different modes of gameplay, whether that's just like complete elimination of their team, capture the flag, or whatever. Because honestly, I just think constant 4 versus 4 would get old real quick if you didn't have some ways of mixing that up, or unlocking awards or other things you can put in the game. They get a lot of unique characters. One of the things that the interview mentioned was the twist on these different characters. So, you've got the droid that's been programmed to think he's a Jedi. You've got the Wookiee who used to be a former Hutball player. And there's a number of
Mhm.
images on StarWars.com where it looks like he's carrying something that almost looks like a football and running around with it. You got the Sith character, the droideka vehicle, piloted by the Ugnaught. And the stormtrooper, the Jawas, one of which is standing on the shoulders of the other one, which is kind of funny. But one of the things that came up in this interview with the designer for the game was that it took a lot of inspiration from pro wrestling, and that it is, these like kind of storylines that go on between the different combatants that are there, and they've got their own graphics packages, and it's all about the ring entrance and that type of thing. And I got to thinking, I was like, I think I'd actually enjoy it if we just kind of had this almost as an animated series like that, and there was like these stories that would go along with it, more than I'm going to actually enjoy playing the game. I think this might be something that would be fun to watch people do on something like Twitch,
Mhm.
but it's just not. It just doesn't. It's just not for me. The play style.
Mhm. No, that's totally fair, and, you brought up that middle grade novel too, and it was called Battle for the Arena. It came out
Mhm.
March 7th of 2023,
Yeah.
and it actually features that Reeve, the, Force-sensitive, Sith-wielding sort of, young lady with the
Hmm.
face markings and the silver hair, and so you're right, like, I think it would be an amazing little animated series, kind of a step up from, the Young Jedi Adventures, and just something that'd be a lot of fun to just tune into and, have some fun with.
Yeah, because I could see it carrying a tone like almost like Robot Chicken, without it necessarily being the satire that Robot Chicken
Mhm.
is, but it's just something that had the fun aspect to get those story, a Simpsons type of a tone to it, and
Sure.
make it fun. Now, Star Wars may not be interested in doing that type of comedy right now anymore. It's kind of the reasons where um, that one, what was it? There was supposed to be an animated series that was coming out years ago that Seth Green was working on, that got shelved when they pretty much produced it. I wish I could think of the
Oh.
name of it, but because they decided to try and keep Star Wars on a bit more serious front for all that. But then we got Star Wars Resistance, so say what you
Mhm.
will
Mhm.
about all those type of things. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to follow and see what comes of this. They've been this committed to its development for this long and seeing it through this many delays, then they must really believe in it.
Mhm.
But again, without knowing too much about the span of this game, I really think you'd have, they need to be ready to introduce new characters and things to keep people playing before the novelty wears off. Because I'm thinking of that Star Wars Squadrons game that was out not too long ago, where
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Vanessa Marshall came back and played her on that. It's kind of a flight commander, and you put together squads of 4 fighters, and then the story would take you through missions for the rebellion, missions for the empire. Once you got to the story, it was just the same thing over and over again. A squad of rebel pilots fighting a squad of imperial pilots, and there was no longevity to that.
Mhm.
And it ended up being, in the game stores for PlayStation and Xbox as part of their subscription process where you get free to play. And I'm not even sure if it's even being offered at this point anymore. It just didn't have the longevity for it because there wasn't enough to offer. And that's what I'm afraid of for Star Wars Hunters.
Well, I think, the fact that this little middle grade book was released specifically for middle grade age group kind of says it all. You know what I mean? That it's
Mhm.
the target audience is going to be for that kind of junior high, middle school aged kind of kid, and that it doesn't necessarily have to have longevity. It's just playing it for the sake of playing it. But I was trying to think of that Seth Green thing was that Detours, Star Wars Detours?
Yes.
Is that what it
Yes.
was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there's a huge hype around that for quite a while, and of course, I'm a huge Star Wars Robot Chicken fan as well.
Mhm.
So, anything attached to Seth Green, I'm always a big fan of. But anyways, that's my take on the target audience, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean,
Mhm,
comes out beginning next month, and we'll see what the hype is once that happens and how long it lasts afterwards. Because Star Wars games have come and gone on mobile
mhm,
platforms. Star Wars Commander game was around for a while, and that was that
sure.
kind of Clash of Clans type of a game, and it fell to the wayside. And there was the other one. I can't remember the story about it, but you're in the Anoat sector right after the fall of the Empire, and the Imperial warlord there kind of put his fist down, and so you kind of opportunity to get into some adventures there, and that one disappeared after not too long after it was made public. So it
Was that
really has
Galaxy of Heroes? Is that what that one was?
no, that
Or
one's still out
different?
there. That one's still available.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but so there's one that's successful, but they keep introducing new heroes in that,
Mm.
and they keep having tournaments, and they keep introducing other ways of playing the game, and they have some storylines. Hunters so far hasn't presented that type of opportunity, which is why I'm worried about it.
Ah, gotcha.
Hmm.
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, like I said, we'll find out next month what the hype is, and we'll see how long it goes. All right. The other big story we've got is that tickets for Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 have gone on sale. We are actually recording this not long after they went on sale.
Mhm.
As a reminder, Celebration is set for next year, April 18th through the 20th at the Makuhari Messe in Japan. And yeah, so we we started before we started recording. We were just chatting, and I put myself in the queue, not to really buy tickets, just to see what was going on there. I was in there. I got in there over an hour after they'd already gone on sale, and it took me about 45 minutes to get through the queue. And it was really interesting, Jay, because I told you it's like the Jedi VIP tickets were long gone, and they had a message while you were waiting in the queue that those are gone, but everything else was available. But when I got through, it would only let me buy one adult 3-day ticket if I was so inclined.
Mm.
However, if I wanted to buy adult tickets for individual days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I could get up to 16 of those. That was a little weird.
I think that's very weird because, how is it? I would think that most people, if you're going to go to this thing, you're going to go for all 3 days, first of all,
Mhm.
and you're probably not going to go by yourself. So it would make sense to be able to purchase at least a couple of the 3-day passes, but 16 single day passes, that's just bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Like the reasoning behind that just makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It seems like it's something that would be prone to scalping. Uh,
Exactly.
so I don't know about that. But yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't at this point, by the time I got through that queue, it was so late in the process that maybe there was a limited supply of 3-day adult tickets. And so they were just offering one to anyone that got through there. And if you wanted to bring someone else, then you bought the 3-day tickets. It's much cheaper to get a 3-day adult. And past celebrations, it has been anyway. Prices were in yen, so I don't even know what the real price was this time around. Not that it mattered because I wasn't really going to buy them. But you could still get 3 tickets to all 3 days if you wanted. And okay, that could be fun to have 3 different. I mean, I still have my badges from the prior celebrations, and they're hanging up in my office here as a fun memento.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, why are you making people do that? It's if you want to limit them to 2, or or 4 is even a reasonable number to me. But I don't understand at this process why you can only get one. That just
Exactly.
that seems a little weird. But I'd definitely love to hear from our listeners. If anyone's going, what was your ticket buying experience like? I had to think that those Jedi Master VIP were gone within just the first couple of minutes. One, because we talked about just a couple weeks ago how they were offering some Jedi VIP ticket holders from Celebration London the opportunity to get those in advance ahead of sale to the public, which I thought was ridiculous and also not particularly fair.
Mhm.
And so some of those already had to be gone, and then whatever was left had to get scooped up. I mean, there's usually only like 750 out of the 10, what is it, 40 some odd thousand tickets they're going to make available that are those Jedi VIP tickets. So they're not going to last long at all. But
Mhm.
yeah, so you're out of luck if you wanted those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in addition to the tickets going on sale, and I wouldn't be surprised if the individual days were around and the children's tickets were around for probably a few more days. But if you want the 3-day pass, get in now if you haven't done so.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
but we've had the announcement of our first 4 celebrities, and they are Anthony Daniels, who we know as C-3PO, Tamara Morrison, who's played Jango Fett, Boba Fett, countless clones, Doug Chang, who's the Senior Vice President and Executive Director for Design at Lucasfilm, and then Ahsoka Tano and creator of her universe herself, Ashley Eckstein. And none of these are a real surprise that they're going to be at Star Wars Celebration. They're pretty
Mhm.
much always at Star Wars Celebration these days, but it's good to see that they're going to be there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And of course, this is just the first batch and the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be many, many, many more to come. So do you think that there's any that are going to be specifically kind of, marquee kinds of guests? Not that these particular celebrities are not, because we know them, we love them, and we always like to see them on the docket. But do you think that there's going to be any big reveals?
Well, honestly, I would be surprised if we got a whole lot more reveals of celebrities for a while because we're still most of a year out from
Right.
Celebration.
Mhm.
And so I would think as we get closer to time, 3 or 4 months out, we're going to get some more announcements and then you'll be able to start signing up for autographs and things like that. I'm guessing the cast of Andor is going to be there in a big capacity because Andor season 2 will be coming out sometime next year. I would also not be surprised if the cast of the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew show up for
Mhm.
that because Skeleton Crew will not really had an opportunity to be at Celebration since I guess they got on stage a little bit the last time, but the show will have been out. We'll have an opportunity to talk about it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a panel and then some autograph and photo opportunities there. The cast of The Mandalorian, since that movie will probably be it'll probably be done filming at that point and into production because that's coming out May of 2026. Those would be some people I'd expect to see. But
Mhm.
how about you? Who do you think you might see there?
No, I think you hit it right on the head there with that. And I would like to see maybe some more of the upcoming types of movies, even Daisy Ridley coming back, and that type of thing as well. So that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it occurs to me that 2026 is not like an anniversary for any of the movies I can think of that ends with a 5 or a 0.
Ah,
So it's not like the 25th or 50th or 40th anniversary of anything.
well,
So
didn't Rogue One come out in 2016 though?
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. No, I overlooked that completely. You're right.
So
So
that'd
yeah,
be
it'll
like
be the
a
10th
10-year
anniversary.
anniversary. Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Diego Luna's already going to be there for Andor, so can you
That's
get
true.
Felicity Jones to show up for
Oh,
that
that'd
as
be
well?
great. Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be super cool to see them on stage together.
so you could have a 10th anniversary panel for that. Um, I can't think of any like anniversaries. I'm not sure if I don't think it'd be any major anniversary for anything animated at that point either. So
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think you're right.
yeah, but hey, you just think of these 4. I mean, I've seen Doug Chang do a panel. I have been around Ashley Eckstein doing panels. I've met and got Anthony Daniels autograph. Tamara Morrison was at the Attack of the Clones panel at the last celebration I was at too. So I've seen them all there. Which of the 4 would you most be interested in seeing again next year at Celebration?
I would love to see Doug Chang, honestly. I didn't get a chance to see him live at any of the celebrations before, and I've seen some of the panels, but just to be able to be of course, in the room where it happens kind of a thing, but he is just such a mastermind, and I just have so much respect for him that I just would just love to just drink in all of his experience and everything like that. And of course, Anthony Daniels is always amazing, and I love Ashley Eckstein, but yeah, Doug Chang would be my choice for that one.
Yeah, what's great about Doug is, him pulling up all the concept art and talking about the
Yes.
influences that went into things, and he's really, really good at that. He's got great presentations. I've had the opportunity to see him do a couple of those. I watched I think it was in London. I watched it online when he was talking about the art of the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. That
Mhm.
was pretty cool. So I'd love to see that type of thing. As far as doing like a photo op or autograph, I think of this group, Tamara Morrison, and be the one I most want to get. I've already got Anthony Daniels. I've got an autograph from Ashley Eckstein, even though I didn't get that in person. I still want to meet her, but I might get the chance to do that this summer. She's going to be at a local con. And then Doug Chang is cool, but come on, the Fett himself, Tamara Morrison.
Oh, yeah. He would be so fun to watch. I mean, just
Mhm.
from everything we've seen of him, he is such a card.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Well, I remember hearing him sing at the live stage at the last
Oh, yeah.
celebration stateside. So that was pretty cool. And
And
then,
doing all the dancing and the Maori stuff is amazing.
yeah, and seeing him get into it with Ewan McGregor and Hayden and, during the Attack of the Clones panel,
Uh-huh.
Daniel Logan as well, just the stories that they all told and played off each other. You could tell how much fun they had working together, and it just carried
Oh,
over.
yeah.
So, yeah, so that'd be fun. Well, it'll be curious to follow. We're not going to be there. I'm curious how they're going to do the streaming for that panel because I think they're like 14 hours ahead.
Oh, gosh, yeah, that'll be interesting for sure.
So I'm not exactly sure. We'll be watching it in the evenings. Will we be watching it? Will it be even available live, or how's that going to work? So
Right? Yeah, that's a great question.
yeah, okay. All right. Well, like I said at the top, this is a very compact episode of the news. There just wasn't that much out there to talk about this week, but the stories we did have were big ones. So glad we got to do those. So thank you all for joining us here on Podcast Stardust for a discussion of the news. We hope you enjoyed it. We will be getting back to very soon our news coming on Friday. So, there might be another very short episode of the news at the end of this week. The way this is going, we'll have to see what
Aw,
happens. But
yeah.
when we don't have a show going live, we like to get the news out on Friday while it is fresh or fresher anyway. So just be on the lookout for that. And then Mondays we'll start featuring some of our review typed episodes. We'll probably be doing our discussions of Tales of the Empire on Mondays. And then Wednesday is kind of our catch-all day for shows going forward. But
Mhm.
if you subscribe, you can get all the shows as they come out, whatever they may be. I'd also like to remind you can find our entire catalog of shows, all previous 724 of them, over on retrozapp.com. And that is also home to several other great podcasts covering everything in geek culture, from retro stuff, superheroes, Star Trek, Dune, Love, Death, and Robots, Animaniacs. There's a whole bunch of stuff going over there at RetroZap. As always, we appreciate your support with your 5-star ratings and reviews on your podcatcher choice. We also love it when you share the show and your favorite episodes on social media with your friends. So if you want to get in on that, Jay, what are our social media contacts?
All right. So we can be very easily found on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Podcast Stardust. And we are continuing to grow on all of those platforms and having a lot of great interactions. So we really appreciate it when you share out the show and just let other people know where to find us as well. And we do have all of our fun Pinterest boards that you can check out for some fun ideas, and our YouTube channels, both YouTube channels. So we have our regular YouTube feed as well as our YouTube music channel. So head over to both of those, like, subscribe, and share those as well. And you can also interact with us as well over on YouTube Music. And you can also have some fun interacting with us on Discord. So you can hit us up for some real time chatter over there. And we are just one of many different rooms on the RetroZap server. So you can head to our link in the show notes to get in on that. And then we also have 7 different show logo designs available on tons of different products through TeePublic. So every one of those purchases does help support the show. So if you do happen to get something, make sure you tag us on one of those social media outlets that I just mentioned, and we'll be sure to share that back out. So if you're interested, you can head to our show notes once again, or you can go to teepublic.com/user/podcast stardust. And then we are still partnering with Saber Masters, so you can pick up the 2-for-1 deal on the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0 get 2 for $199, and you can receive an extra $10 off when you put in the code STARDUST at checkout. So if you are in need of a new lightsaber, and who isn't, then head to sabermasters.com, and once again, just use that referral code, and that also does help to support the show as well. So other shows that you can support are Warp Trails. So Dennis, tell us all about what you got going on with that.
Right. So Warp Trails is the podcast devoted to Star Trek, hosted by myself and my wife, Beth. We are currently reviewing season 5 of Discovery, which is its final season. And this show is exclusive to the RetroZap podcast feed. So that means if you want to find it, you just need to go to your podcatcher of choice, look for RetroZap, and you'll find all the episodes of Warp Trails there with the episodes of the other shows on the network, including Podcast Stardust. But if you don't want to do that, it's really easy to find it over on retrozap.com. Jay, what do you got going on in cosplay?
All right. Well, with cosplay, I'm super busy with just having tons of fun. So you can catch all of my adventures on my Instagram, which is at j.snipscosplay, where you can catch me as the fourth sister, Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, 2 different versions of Hera, which I just got to have a lot of fun doing for May the 4th as my Ahsoka series Hera, and also my new original concept Mandalorian, which I'm having a ton of fun with as well, and other things such as Leia and just random Tahiri as well. So head over to j.snipscosplay for all the fun, and also for lots of other cosplayers that are just fun to follow as well.
Okay, upcoming on the show on Wednesday, we'll be looking at Darth Vader number 18 by Charles Soule. And this is a episode that features Grand Moff Tarkin. It's a really good story. Check it out, and then come back and check out our discussion on that. And then on Friday, we'll be getting back into Star Wars news like I was just talking about. So with that, thanks for listening to episode 725 of Podcast Stardust, everyone. Have a great week. And until next time, may the Force be with you.